I don't want to say I became an architect because of Stadia, but it did play quite a big part in my decision. So I used to love as a kid going around the country with my parents. I'd go to all these different stadia, these big monolithic sort of structures out in the middle of nowhere. They were kind of awe-inspiring, so I always liked that. I do love working with complex scenarios, so everyone sees architecture, especially from the outside, as just designing a pretty building, and it's an elaborate, iconic facade, but there's a lot of complex sort of functional planning requirements involved with that. So working, okay, this space needs to be adjacent to this space, and this space then needs to interact with that space, and actually working around the planning of that, and stadia and sports facility. My journey to becoming an architect followed the standard sort of route. So within architecture, there's three main parts that make up the architectural education. So there's the part one, which is essentially an undergrad, part two, which is a master's, and then a part three, which is kind of professional practice. During that time, I've worked mainly on projects around Aston Villa. So I worked on the North Stand project, the Terrace View project, and I used the Terrace View as my case study. So I was fortunate to be involved from start to finish in that. Had a range of different roles all the way through. If I'm honest, probably the only challenge was having to juggle full-time work, a part-time course, and then kind of being a dad at the same time, so having a young child. It is very challenging to kind of attribute that time. My advice for anyone looking to study architecture would be to pursue something you're really passionate about, you enjoy. Not only will the output quality improve, you'll actually find yourself a lot more motivated in the subject, and you'll end up finding jobs at the end of it that you actually really enjoy